Hi Instant Surfers, welcome to another edition of Big Whiteboard Wednesday, and today we're going to be talking about the elusive Spot X. A famous old Aussie surfer said once that there's two kinds of surfers. There's the hunters and the hunted. And when we first go out the back and we're first catching unbroken waves, I think we're all very much one of the hunted. We're sitting there in the water, we're looking at waves coming towards us, hoping they don't crash on our head, hoping we don't get in the way of the other surfers, and maybe sneaking the odd wave. It's actually much safer for you as a surfer and much more productive to immediately turn yourself into one of the hunters. And what you're hunting is Spot X. Spot X is the place that you need to be in order to catch the wave. We're working really in sort of two dimensions here. First of all, we're working how far out from the beach that we want to be. If we're trying to catch our wave here, well, that's too late. If we're trying to catch it out here, the wave isn't steep enough. So what we all tend to do in the beginning is we sort of sit around here on our board and we just say to ourselves, yes, I can have a go at catching this wave, it doesn't look too steep, or no, I need to just paddle out and get out of the way of this wave, or this one's not big enough. What I'd like you to start doing instead now is, rather than just saying, can I catch it from where I'm sitting, start thinking to yourself, where do I need to be if I want to catch this wave? Let's say that I'm sitting here on my board like that, okay, and I'm just looking out towards the horizon. I see this wave coming, and it's not a very steep wave, and I think to myself, okay, the place that I need to be to catch this wave is right there. So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to start paddling in so that I'm paddling through this spot X, exactly as the wave gets there. I'm not just letting the wave come to me now, I'm paddling to where I need to be to catch it. Let's make it a little bit trickier. You're actually sitting too far in, like that, looking out to sea. You see this wave coming, but it's already looking pretty steep when it's quite far away, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I think this wave's going to crash on me. We're not going to try and run away from it. We're looking at it and we're thinking, okay, where's Spot X? Where do I need to be to catch the wave? I'm going to paddle out to sea, and then sit up, turn around, and then start paddling to be in the right place to catch the wave. Now, if you can't make it because that wave is so huge that it's breaking so much further out that you can't get to it, well, you're paddling towards it anyway, you're looking at it anyway, so if you were just trying to get out of its way, that's exactly the safest thing to do. So why not think about catching it rather than worrying about it crashing on your head? If you actually look at our Big Whiteboard Wednesday on paddling into unbroken waves, one of the key things that I really mentioned is how you have to have got 5 good, deep, powerful paddles in before you even start to feel the wave lifting up the back of your board. So those 5 deep, powerful paddles that you're doing are actually going to have moved you forwards about 3 or 4 meters. So it's no good just sitting in the right place and starting to paddle. What we have to now start doing is actually thinking, okay, well, Spot X is here, so I need to paddle and turn around 4 or 5 meters further out than Spot X, so that then I'm turning around and I'm paddling through Spot X at speed at the same time that the wave does. So that's a really important distinction to make. We're not trying to paddle to Spot X, we're trying to paddle to slightly outside it so that we're traveling through it at top speed at the same time the wave gets to us, not just accelerating from it as the wave gets to us. Of course, you're going to get it wrong sometimes, and that's fine. If you get it wrong and you're a little bit too far out, you just won't catch the wave, and that's no problem. If you get it wrong and you're a bit too far in, you'll find yourself in this situation, which I'm sure you've been in, where the wave is coming in like that, you're lying here on your board and paddling along, and you look up over your shoulder and you suddenly realise that this whole wave is about to crash right on top of you. What are you going to do? Well, you could just roll over and do a little reverse turtle roll or reverse Eskimo roll, and check out our Big Whiteboard Wednesday on turtle rolls and paddling out the back to see how to do those. So you could do one of them. You could, if there's no one around, even just slip off your board, go underwater and let the wave break over your head. It's not ideal because you're letting go of your board, but on the other hand, it's not something that you're going to do a lot in the future, because as you're looking over your shoulder on each wave, you're going to very quickly get better and better and better at working out where Spot X, and you simply won't put yourself in that position for much longer, okay? You should be getting it wrong about 9 times out of 10. That's great. If you're successfully putting yourself in the right place on one wave in 10, fantastic. As long as you're looking over your shoulder on all of them, so that if they were either too steep or not steep enough, you knew what they looked like when you got it wrong. That means you're learning very, very, very quickly, because when you look over the same wave in the future, you'll go, oh yeah, I remember what this one looks like. What we don't want to do is just have those blinkers on and be looking straight ahead, because then it'll just be luck whether we're in the right place or not. So remember to get those look backs in. Really, really, really important. Okay, so we're trying to work this out. We're trying to work out how far out or how far in to be, but we're actually working on another dimension as well. We're working on how far across to be. So this little picture, again, we've got the wave breaking here and then this unbroken face coming towards us this way. If you've got to the point where you're starting to catch waves and go down the line, this is going to be really important. But even if you're not, even if you're still just trying to catch the waves, drop straight down them and just make that drop on your feet, this is still something you've got to think about. Because if you're paddling in to catch this wave, if you're doing your 5 paddles to get your speed going, and you're thinking about, do I need to be further in or further out so the wave's already broken, you've also got to think, well, if I'm 5 meters too far this way, and I'm over here trying to paddle into the wave, I might not be able to get it because the wave might not be steep enough. If I'm 5 meters over that way, then the whole thing's already broken and it's right on my head. So I'm not just looking over my shoulder to work out how near the beach or how far out from the beach I need to be. I'm also thinking about being left or right, and you're going to need to adjust that while you're paddling. I'm going to pull my arm back and look back over my shoulder and maybe paddle myself just a few feet, a few meters to the left or the right, so that I'm in that spot X right there. I'm as close to the critical part of the wave as I can be without getting stuck in the white water that's breaking right there. A lot of times I see people paddling beautifully and doing it all great, but they're just way too far out here on the shoulder, or they're just too far in and the wave actually crashes on them. But remember, if you're catching every wave you go for, it means that you're looking at a wave that you think you can't catch and you're not trying. Okay, so you should only be getting about 1 in 10 waves you're going for when you're first sort of trying to establish where the spot X is, when you're first trying to turn yourselves from one of the hunted into one of the hunters. You should be getting it wrong. That's great. It means you're looking at a wave that you don't think you can get to spot X, but you're trying. We're going to really think about every wave from now on when you're sitting out there and it's coming towards you. Just in one respect, you're going to say, where is spot X? Can I get there before the wave does? If the answer is yes, then you're going to have a go at catching it. If the answer is no, you're going to look at that prediction that you've made. You're going to say, okay, I think the wave's going to break here. I'm mentally going to put an X in the ocean where I think the wave's going to break, where I think it is that I should be to catch it. You could even make a prediction about whether it's going to peel left or right, and then you're going to sit up on your board, turn your board around, look at the wave, see if the wave broke where you thought it would break, and then turn around and do it again. And what you're doing there is you're making a prediction and seeing if that prediction came true, and often you'll be surprised that the wave broke much further in or much further out or further across than what you thought it would. When you see people who seem to have that sort of intuitive understanding of the ocean, there's nothing magical or mystical or spiritual about it. They've simply made predictions and looked and seen whether those predictions would come true over and over and over again. So a good way to think about it is, well, once I've made 1,000 predictions and watched 1,000 waves break and see if they broke where I thought they would, I'm gonna have it nailed. And in each surf, you can probably be doing that once or twice a minute. So it's only going to take you a few hours, a few weeks maybe, to actually to get to that level where you're predicting almost every wave absolutely perfectly. Okay? Also, that process of just turning your board around to look at the wave and see if it did what you thought it would do is meaning that you're constantly just turning your board around in the water, and that is going to give you an incredible amount of agility. One of the hardest things about doing this is that you're paddling to where spot X is, or rather you're a few meters further out than spot X, then you've got to turn the board around really quick and start paddling to catch the wave. And from my experience, it's that being able to turn the board around quickly is what holds most people back. So by making these predictions and looking at the wave, you're turning your board around all the time without actually wiping out and getting rolled around, and you're very quickly getting faster at it. So that's going to be a huge bonus as well. It's like a double whammy. Okay, so that's how you find spot X, or that's how you get better at finding it. That's how you teach yourself to get better at it. I hope you found that helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheerio.